What's up, everybody? Eric here with another EWE reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 9. Before we get into that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you want me to review next. But yeah, this is Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 9. One more episode after this. So this is streamed on Paramount+. The name of this episode is The Inner Fight. The episode released on October 26, 2023. It's directed by Brandon Williams, and it's written by Mike McMahon. The cast includes Tawny Newsome, Jack Quaid, Noel Wells, Eugene Cordero, Don Lewis, Jerry O'Connell, Fred Tassador, and Gillian Vigman. Now, this episode is 26 minutes, and the basic plot is Captain Freeman assigns the Lower Decks an overly safe mission to try and keep a self-destructive mariner out of danger. That's the basic plot of what's going on with one of the stories in this episode. We'll talk more about it in a little bit, but let's go into my spoiler-free section. As usual, I will do spoiler-free, and then I will let you guys know when I'm going to go into spoilers. So, this was a great... So, we'll start off with the good. This was a great episode for moving the main arc forward of the season. I felt like the last week's episode, I even said on episode episode 8, I was just like, I didn't like the fact that it completely ignored the main story. It's like, this... We can't be doing that at this point, this late in the season. I would have moved that episode somewhere else. But this is technically the start of the finale. This is a two-parter. So it was really cool to, we're moving it forward. We finally got to figure out why Mariner's been acting very weird and, kind of being, self-destructive. We saw this in the Ferengi Planet episode. I think we saw it one other place. So it was good to see why she's doing... Oh, and in the episode where the Badgie episode where she kind of, left to go save Rutherford. That was also kind of I get you're trying to help your friend, but it's also are you trying to get yourself killed too? Now, we do get into the reason. It's not a bad reason. I'll talk about that in the spoiler section. So the captain's story in this episode I thought was pretty smart, and I didn't see the end coming and how it's actually done. I was like, you know what, this is pretty cool. And it was like I said, it was a great start to a two-parter. I'm going to talk more about the good in the spoiler section rather than here, because this is an episode that's highly story is the most important thing. But everyone had cool things to do. We got to see a lot of characters that we haven't seen in a while. All right, so let's move on to the bad. So this better be the last time we have a self-destructive mariner, because I will admit we're getting to the point where I'm getting very tired of it. It's the Moopsie episode, I thought this was yes, this is where we end Mariner being very self-destructive. She sees she has a support system and all of that. So I'm like, this better be it, because I'm starting to get very tired of it. And I'm not sure why. It's just stop, because you guys keep defaulting to Mariner getting herself into danger. Last season, what was it? Mariner got kicked off the ship the episode before the finale, and here, it's not she gets kicked off the ship. It's just oh, Mariner gets herself into another thing because she's very, reckless at times. It's we need to stop doing that. We need to stop doing the same thing every season. It's just stop it. I will say I was not happy with the reveal at the end of this episode, just because I thought it was going to be a cooler reveal, and I was just oh, okay. But yeah, those are the main things I didn't like about this episode. It's not like anything here is bad. It's just you need to, one, stop with the Mariner thing, and then the reveal. I thought it was going to be something lame from, the start of the season. And I will admit, I thought it was lame. A lot of people might love it. I didn't. And it's just this didn't work for me. It didn't affect my score, don't worry, guys. I still gave this a, Well, actually, let's move into my score. So I actually gave this an 8 out of 10 for great, because the pieces are all there. If we didn't have the Mariner having that moment in episode 2 of oh yeah, I need to stop being so self-destructive, I would have actually preferred this episode. It's oh, if we would have waited to give Mariner the self-destructive thing at the end of the season, maybe I would have liked it more. But at the same time, she's been doing that so much over the years. It's just you guys need to either get her to stop being self-destructive, or it's time to take her out of Starfleet. Sorry, it's one of those two. Having a character that's just this all the time, it's I really want to like her, but then you give me reasons to be yeah, no, she's the one doing it to herself. She's her own worst enemy. So yeah, an 8 out of 10 for great. Do I recommend it? Yes. Now, let's move into my spoiler section. For those of you that aren't going to join us, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I will be doing a review for episode 10 as well. So, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, so now we're into the spoiler section, and let's just get started about how this starts. So now we find out that the mysterious vessel is now attacking former Starfleet officers, and the Cerritos is assigned to go protect one of them. In particular, it's Nick Locarno, and now he works as a pilot for hire. This is the same character that was played by the same actor that was Tom Paris. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. But yeah, it was like funny seeing his name. Like, oh, okay. I'm not sure if he's the one that voiced the character in this episode or in the next episode. He just has like one line in it at the end. So it was like, oh, I wasn't sure if he's going to be in it. But yeah, so it's Captain Freeman, Shax, and Rutherford have to go find Locarno, while Mariner, Tendi, T'Lyn, and Boimler are sent on a very safe mission to a buoy to repair it. And it's just mostly like, keep Mariner away from danger because she's being very self-destructive and she's probably going to get herself killed. Which at the same time, it's like, then put her on Earth or something like that. Put her somewhere where she can't hurt herself. Like, I don't get why these people are letting her get into these situations when, like, you're a Starfleet officer. Anything can happen to a Starfleet officer. But then at the buoy, they end up getting their shuttle gets destroyed by a bird of prey, but luckily they were able to transport down to the planet. And they start to encounter senior officers from the various missing ships. So now we're seeing a lot of those characters where, like, in episode 7, we found that, oh, the ships weren't destroyed, they were stolen. So now we're finding out a little bit more about it. They're eventually attacked by Ma, and he ends up having a great, like, him and Mariner get into this fight, but, like, it ends up being a raining glass storm, and they end up going somewhere else, and they have a conversation. And this conversation, very similar to the one that she had with, with Jack at the beginning of the season in episode 2. She has one with Ma. I don't know how to say his name. And it was really nice. You actually find out, like, oh, one of her, like, friends died on, like, a mission, like a secret, like a spy mission. And she's kind of like, I didn't sign up to Starfleet to do all this spy stuff. I did it to be explorers, like, learn new things. And I like the way he even says, like, yeah, but she did all those spy missions and stuff like that. So people like you could do that stuff. You dishonor her by not doing that. And I was like, you know what? This is really cool. I really enjoyed this conversation they're having. And I think it probably will help her with her stop trying to get into a fight, which right away she starts not doing any of the fights anymore. But it's also like one episode. You don't know what's going to happen next. Maybe she'll start getting into fights later on. All right. So before I forget that, let's now... so they have their conversation. They're eventually going to go find everyone else. So that's really cool. Like I said, this conversation they have, I definitely recommend people watch it because I felt it was really strong. Like, Mariner ends up having those good, like, real convos that I feel like someone like Boimler doesn't get as much. Same for Tendi and Rutherford. Like, Rutherford, for the most part, always feels like a comedy character. And even when he has serious moments, it's still kind of comedy-ish. Where Tendi doesn't really have those serious moments either. And Boimler, because he's such a goofball, I feel like he doesn't get them either. It's weird. But Mariner, for the most part, where something gets serious, she actually does get those conversations of the serious things, like of death and what happens to people. Like, I really enjoy what they do with the character. I just need them to stop doing it so often. But yeah, now let's go back to the Captain, Shax, and Rutherford. So I probably missed something about this before, but they go to the planet. They're going to New Axton, I think is the name. It's like a bounty hunter, like smuggler planet, and everything's going bad for them. Like, they can't even land the Cerritos on the planet. They're like, no, go to a nearby moon and take a shuttle down to the planet. There's a shuttle like every 3 hours. And it's like, oh, they're just gonna waste their time. But then there's this little ship that right away just shows up there, and they're like, oh yeah, pass on through. And this guy, like, he's in like this cool costume. I'll put a picture right now. And it's just like, he just gets through anywhere he wants to go. And I just really enjoyed that. I was like, oh yeah, no one likes Starfleet, but this bounty hunter can go wherever the hell he wants. So then they end up going to the planet, and they try to get into this bar. They're not able to get into the bar. They're like, oh, you're Starfleet? No, we're not letting you in. You can't just do whatever you want just because you're Starfleet. And then the same bounty hunter guy is just able to walk on in, no problem. After they eventually get in, it's pretty funny because there's this guy that's talking to them, and the captain's like, sure, he's just a puppet. And she starts saying like, oh, I'm not going to give you or anyone the information about what's going on with Locarno. And it's just funny to see it because the captain just picks him up, acting like he's a puppet. Turns out, no, he's a real guy. Rutherford ends up like checking him, and the guy was not going to sell the information, but after what Captain Friedman did, he is going to sell the information. And guess who shows up to buy the information? It's that same bounty hunter guy. So now he has the info. And let's actually now move back to Mariner and everyone else, and then we'll finish off the captain's story. So Mariner's able to get all the officers to work together. So she ends up having everyone's trying to fight, like the Ferengi, all those other races. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Sorry, guys. So they're all trying to kill each other, but luckily Mariner's able to... Well, not Mariner alone. So one of the Orions tries to go attack Mariner, but luckily Tendi shows up and stops them. And that Orion just stops. He's like, oh, crap, it's Tendi. Like, they know who Tendi is. Oh, my God. Why am I not remembering stuff at the moment? But, her family's big and all that. They know about her family. So then everyone ends up deciding to work together. She even says, like, we don't have to like each other, but we can work together to get out of here. But then out of nowhere, Mariner is beamed away somewhere else. All right. So now we actually find out that the captain's plan actually did work. So it turns out that bounty hunter guy we've been seeing the entire time, that was Billups. And what happened is the captain knew their bias against Starfleet will make it so they're going to do something very reckless. Like, the guy was not going to sell the information to anyone. But because he hated Starfleet for what they did right there, picking him up, oh yeah, they're going to just let him through, no questions asked. Earlier in the episode, they let that bounty hunter just fly on through. Why? Because he did it right after Starfleet, and they're like, oh yeah, we got to show Starfleet who's boss, we're just going to let him go through. Same thing for getting into the bars. Like, she knew how to use their bias against them, and she was able to get the information that she wants. So now they have the information of where Lorcana was last at, and they're going to go find him. Let's go back to the other story. So Mariner, like I said, was transported away, but they know about this ship in orbit, the Klingon ship that destroyed their shuttle. So they end up using, this beacon that's on the planet, and they end up sending a distress signal. Well, now the ship comes from out of orbit, it goes down to the planet, and it needs to get super close in order to be able to shoot the distress beacon. Everyone else, the officers, Tendi, Boimler, and T'Lyn are able to get onto the ship. They jump onto it. They're able to then take it back. All those officers, and they're able to be successful now that they leave. So that's cool. That's where their story ends. We then go back to Freeman, and they end up finding where Lorcana's supposed to be at. Turns out he's the one. He has the designs of that ship that's stealing all the ships. So he's our main bad guy. And that's why I said I didn't like this reveal, because it was just like, oh, we're just going with an old Starfleet. Like, remember season 3, who ended up being the bad guy? It was a Starfleet admiral. Now it's like, oh, a disgruntled Starfleet person. It's like, really, guys? You couldn't have done something more original than just recycling someone like this. I didn't like that. I was just like, this felt lazy to me. But at least now we know who it is. Like, I get it, they're bringing someone back, but it's just like, I just didn't like it for me. So then we go out of there, and now Mariner's awake. She's on the ship, and he greets her, and it seems like they know each other. So I was just like, oh, where did this come from? So that was interesting to see, and that's where the episode ends. It's to be continued. We're gonna see what happens there. But more than likely, they're gonna stop them, because they always do. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought about this episode. Like I said, I had my issues with it, but I still thought it was great overall. Like, my issues of not liking the reveal, I think, are my personal issues. I don't think that would affect many people. That's why I still gave the episode a good score. A great score. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I'll try to get the episode 10 review out by Saturday. No promises, though. It might turn into Monday, but I'll try to get it out as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon.